Hello, my name is Jonson Porteux, and welcome to my class, the title of which is What is Political Science and What does Political Science look like in action? So before we get into the actual content, just a little bit about my background. My background is in economics, is in political science, and if you're interested in specifically what I do, my research is relatively easy to find with a simple search, and here are some of my most recent publications. So now, on to the question. So what is political science? So first and foremost, it is a subset of the human behavioral sciences which tries to understand why we behave the way we behave. And one of the key questions there is on the evolution of cooperation and sometimes the devolution of cooperation. Right? So human behavior and cooperation in particular is conditioned by power, is conditioned by authority. So human behavior, or humans in general, are affected by politics. Right? So political science then attempts to understand these phenomena scientifically. So political science is traditionally broken down into a number of subfields, which should probably be fairly familiar. So international relations, comparative politics, political economy, specific methodologies. So what about the science aspect? Well, that's a really important question. That's a great question, right? And this is actually where the action of this lecture begins. So first, right, we have science. The definition is the provision and testing of verifiable, falsifiable hypotheses. And we do so we can get closer and closer and closer approximations of the truth, right? So science actually means truth. It means knowledge. Right? So notice that it's not normative in terms of what should be. Right? So an example, a normative statement, which is also a political statement. Diversity is good. Great. Right? Kind of this social justice norm, the way it should be. Right? But that's not science yet. So let's see if we can actually be a little bit more precise. If we can actually kind of science this up. And I'll tell you, one, yes we can. Right? And two, we can demonstrate empirically that yes we actually should. So the scientific approach would be, let's see if we can define diversity and then model it so we can test this hypothesis. So human diversity, right? A basic definition, right? Two basic sources. One stemming from what we can think of as nature, identity diversity, so ethnicity, phenotype, gender, age, and so on. And the other being cognitive diversity, which we can think of as being derived from nurture. So experience, our training, it's why we go to school, right? So we can increase the set of tools we have to solve interesting and important problems that we may encounter. And I'll tell you one thing, so if you want to understand social behavior or human behavior, you need to understand nature, or attempt to, and you also need to understand nurture. And one thing that we do know is it's oftentimes not either nature or either nurture, but this lovely interplay between the two. So that complexity discussed, we're going to keep it simple and have these two as distinct. So we would say then that human diversity is a function of these two factors. So identity diversity and then cognitive diversity. So if you want to increase diversity overall, you just increase one or both of these factors. So now our hypothesis. So derived from the prior, so diverse groups will outperform less diverse groups. And social scientists have been engaging this question. It's a really important question. So the power of diversity hypothesis, right? So we have our definition, and now we can embed it within a testable model. And it turns out that diverse groups do in fact far outperform less diverse groups, right? And you don't have to trust us. You can actually go through and run the data. So there you go. That's political science and political science in action. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. 日本語でも OK です。Right? So with that, I will end with a diverse set of thank yous.